know. We can start off.
I know. This is Oldecam.
Happy birthday, Oldecam.
I know.
This is Not a Spring Chick, and today we're going to be talking about news.
News, yeah, which is strange. Okay, but news basically. I got my degree in journalism maybe 50 years ago. That's how old I am, folks.
Well, actually, we're talking about the changing face of news. And a lot of times it seems like news almost takes the easy way out instead of covering the serious, hard topics because they think people don't want to...
It might offend people, but they don't care if they offend people. That's the whole...
part of news is bringing the information to the people.
And let the people, you know...
Oh,
it was...
Okay. You decide. We bring you the news, you decide, right?
It is not our... this is the way it is. It is not our position to bring you the truth. It's just to bring you the story and let you decide what is the truth. That's the way it is now. When I was learning, I mean, one of my teachers was Edward R. Murrow, who was what they call the Dean of Journalism. And one of the things he told us specifically, you know, like in Journalism 101, your job is to go out and find the truth.
Well, and part of the reason Oldecam is hyped up is, of course, Michael Jackson, whose memorial... Actually, should we say it is today?
It is today.
And there has been so much coverage, and I call it my Michael Jackson memorial tour around LA. I went to all these different spots. I happened to, of course, catch a lull because of the timing when I went out, so there weren't as many people. But there's media stationed all over the place.
God, it's a circus.
I mean, and we're not talking about Ringling Brothers and Barnum Circus, which had the elephants.
Which the elephants are there also at the same time, which makes it even more ridiculous. No, but would you put it this way? They're giving Michael Jackson a state funeral. I know what state funerals are like. My father, because he was an officer with Patton and an aide to Omar Bradley at the end of World War II, it was among the honor guard for Franklin Roosevelt's funeral. I mean, I participated in the Harry Truman funeral, the Ronald Reagan funeral, and the Dwight D. Eisenhower funeral. So I know what state funerals are like, folks.
But do you, for example, on this funeral, do you think that they went overboard because it's easier to go overboard because of the popular... Why do you think, I mean, because part of it is they're doing live broadcast, which they've been doing all morning, of the memorial, the Staples Center, the memorial service. And
every poll that is taken by everybody agrees on the one thing. People are fed up with the Michael Jackson thing. But the news media doesn't care.
But you know, part of it is they may be fed up, but I can't resist watching.
I can't.
Yeah. Well, you know, the same thing happened, remember, with Anna Nicole Smith.
Yeah, but they said that they're losing audience because of what they're doing. Fox News is doing it. Okay, I think Bill O'Reilly is I don't really think much of the man because he's basically, he's a wolf in sheep's clothing, folks. He's not a conservative. He's a libertarian, and he supports Barack Obama. No matter what they make it sound like. But last night he did, right after he condemned the fact that Michael Jackson he'd done this ungodly thing, which would have made Obama jump up and down. He condemned Michael Jackson for spending $500 million on himself.
Now that part is ridiculous.
Yeah, he condemned him for doing that.
I think that's just ridiculous because first of all, if you've got that much money that you can do that, then more power to you.
Well, no, my father, my father used to get into, my father was German and American Indian, my mother's American Indian and English, so, you know, they would get into ungodly battles over the fact that, that my father said there was one reason for making money, and that was to go spend it. My mother thought the only reason for making money was to put it in a bank account and save it.
Well, and part of it is he spent his life in front of everybody. And I've heard that he's actually in the Guinness World Records books as a celebrity for donating the most or something. Well, yeah, I never looked it up.
Michael Jackson probably donated more of his time. Oh, it's just like, but then you don't know. I remember working with Michael Landon, I guess 40 years ago on a muscular dystrophy, actually it was a cerebral palsy thing. And Michael Landon, I think, was the person that created the idea of the fishbowl for the kids to come in and, you go out and you take your buckets. I think they were milk cartons then. They went and took milk cartons out and they brought in pennies, nickels, and dimes.
Right.
And I think like that one show, they picked up like $10,000 in a fishbowl.
Wow.
The people, another actor that most people don't remember, which when I was young, was a man named Kirby Grant, who was Sky King. Sky King dedicated his life to going out and helping charities. These people, we got Arthur Duncan from the Lawrence Wilkes Show. They're people, they don't get the credit for what they did. They just go out and do it. But see, Michael Jackson did it and he got more credit. I mean, Frank Sinatra never got the credit that he deserved. I mean, for instance, I know that Frank Sinatra used to help people in the entertainment business that he knew they got sick and couldn't work. They had a family member didn't die. He never got credit for that.
Isn't that why they helped develop that home?
Develop those things. I mean, it's John Wayne was an unbelievable philanthropist. The only place you hear about the philanthropy of John Wayne is on the Western Channel.
Really?
Yep. John Wayne Cancer Center has conducted massive amounts of, they've changed the whole treatment in some areas of what they discovered there. But people like that don't get the recognition that Michael Jackson got because it's, it's ridiculous. The news media is not what it was. I mean, I grew up when everybody took their, they would have all jumped at the chance to do news in a casual fashion, but they would have still do news. We do news.
We just do it a little differently.
I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, I sat there last night and edited a piece that we did on Canon, the Canon.
Oh, the Canon camera.
The Canon camera. And if you sit there and pay attention to that, we're talking about how to do photography and lenses and the whole works while we're being casually doing a review on the Canon. But they do. I know the people. I mean, David Brinkley would have loved to be able to sit down in a short sleeve shirt sitting on a beach doing the news because he was inclined to do something like that to begin with. I mean, the people you think of stuffed shirts were no different than the people today. They just took what they were doing seriously. The people today don't take it seriously. We do take it seriously. I have a master's degree in mass communications. Which is probably why we're
talking about it today.
Yeah, I don't think. I think that when you totally disregard the will of the people, which is what the media is doing, because
isn't that just like Congress right now?
Yeah, same people.
I mean,
they okay. We have an example of this. I also grew up with the people. I came in at the same time the same idiots created demographics, which basically says people my age and Notaspringchick's age don't watch television. They're the only people who watch television, folks. But they totally disregarded everybody below a certain age and above a certain age. They live and die by the polls. Now they don't even pay attention to the polls because they don't say what they want to hear, so they disregard them. But they're losing audience. Like one of the people said this morning, I heard one of the people over on one of the mainstream not Fox, saying that we're losing audience shares by the fool. And they're still doing this bunch of...
Well, part of it was I was listening to them and they were saying, well, we missed out, we didn't cover as bunch on cap and trade. And so then they started talking about it, and then I guess they had changed it for a little while and took the focus off of Michael Jackson, and then their ratings had declined.
Oh,
but I think that was at the stage where it was still newer.
Yeah.
Whereas after so many days, it's like...
But they don't. Okay, here's the response on the thing. Well, we could do cap and trade next week. Michael Jackson was too important. Nobody, other than a small amount of the population. Okay, we'll put it this way: it's the same clowns that watch reality programming.
You know what? It is like one big reality show.
Yeah, it's because I met him. I knew him when he was a nice young man, and who cared? Another thing. Okay, my grandfather was from Prussia. My grandfather basically had the attitude that he didn't care how much it cost, because he said if you had to ask how much it cost, you couldn't afford it, so he just bought it. But my grandfather would be out of place.